to tell you about Lucia, because Lucia is not where it all started. Lucia is relatively modern, and I've done some research and I've gone back in the mists of time to find out the old myths and the old legends of what happened before Lucia, and I think that you'll probably see some similarities between Christmassy things now and then, but in a kind of a different way. So, yes.
Som är sjungen från tid till tid, eviga längtan till ljus och frid. Strålande jul, glans över vita skogar. Which is sung from time to time, eternal longing for light and peace. Yule, radiant Yule, shines over bright white forests.
Way up in the lands of the north, where the midwinter sky never lightens and the snow shines brightly on the ground, there was a child, a small child, and she was alone in the house and she was frightened. Her parents hadn't gone very far away. They were out celebrating the longest night in the only way they knew how, with singing and dancing and drinking. Nudi Julienne, Nudi Julienne, Julen bara väntar påska. Nudi Julienne, Nudi Julienne, Julen bara väntar påska. Det var intressant och det var intressant, för däremellan kom en fasta. Det var intressant och det var intressant, för däremellan kom en fasta. Now it's Yule again, yes, now it's Yule again, and Yule will last until it's Easter. Now it's Yule again, yes, now it's Yule again, and Yule will last until it's Easter. That's not true, of course, no, that's not true, of course, for in between comes Lent and fasting. That's not true, of course, no, that's not true, of course, for in between comes Lent and fasting. You see, this night was Lussenatt, or Lussenatt, and Lussenatt was not a good night to be alone in the house, because Lussenatt was the night that all of the trolls and witches and scary creatures were said to be roaming abroad. Now, this little girl's name was Tilda, and Tilda was actually a very brave little girl, and trolls and witches and scary creatures she could actually cope with. But on the night of the 12th of December, and before the dawn of the 13th, the longest night according to the old Julian calendar, Lussenatt was the night that the Lussekärringe was said to come out. The Lussekärringe was an old, evil, scary witch that was said to have the power to know whether a child had been good or bad that year. The Lussekärringe that lived in this part of the country had a long white dress that was muddy and grey, and if you looked closely about her middle with the red sash, you knew at once why it was blood red. You instinctively knew that you didn't want to know the colour of those evil, beady eyes, and she had straw hair that stuck out in all directions from underneath a big black floppy hat. Of course, if you'd been good all year, then you would be safe and sound and the Lussekärringe would pass you by. If, however, you hadn't, she would slither down the chimney, kidnap you and take you out into the forest where you would be lost forever. Now, on this particular night, Tilda was afraid because she had a secret. She tried to be good all year, but somehow there was always something, and this year, Tilda had broken a thing. It wasn't an important or an expensive thing, but it was a thing that was not hers, and now it was broken, and she was sure that the Lussekärringe was going to get her. Suddenly she heard a noise outside the window, and it stopped. Quick as a flash, she jumped up and hid underneath the table. There it was again, just a little noise, but then it stopped, and there was a terrible silence. Matilda was sure she could hear a noise coming from down the chimney, but then that stopped, and she could hear an eerie song that got gradually louder and louder. Santa Lucia, ljus klara hägring, sprid i vår vinternatt glans av din vägring. Drömma med vingesus under oss i hatten vinna vita ljus, Santa Lucia. And then the door to the kitchen swung open, and there stood Tilda's mother, dressed in a beautiful white dress, red sash around her middle. In her hands was a tray of lussekatter and pepperkakor, and in her hair was a crown of flaming candles, and she was singing the most beautiful song that Tilda had ever heard. Tilda burst into tears. "You saved me from the Lussenatt. It wasn't my fault. I didn't mean to break the thing." It's okay, Tilda's mother reassured her. "That's just one of the old tales. The Lussenatt won't get you this year. Here, have a Lussenatt." And they sat there in the warmth of the candles enjoying pepperkakor and lussekatter. But if they had looked outside the kitchen window, they would have seen a witch with scraggly straw hair sticking out from underneath a big black floppy hat, skulking away with a scowl on its face. Santa Lucia, ljus klara hägring, sprid i vår vinternatt glans av din vägring.